Turn off my drawing. Turn off my stones. Don't need this curve anymore. We didn't use these, but these are so I can move normal. If I wanted to move the stone higher up or deeper in, I could slide it along these rails. We may not need them. I need two sets of curves. I need a front view curve depicting the front of this, and I need a top view curve depicting the outline. So to get the top view curve, I'm going to extract surface by right-clicking on this, and I want to make a copy this time. Make it in red. Grab the three of those. While they're still selected, I'm going to hit duplicate border. And while those are still selected, I'm going to project them to C-plane, which I can get right here, or I use my keyboard shortcut C-enter. And I want to delete the input objects, so yes, Y. Y-enter. Okay, so I've got those. Now I can go back and delete these red surfaces. That's what I'm going to do. It's less confusing. There are other solutions, but they're a little more confusing. So this is my top view of those. Now my front view, I'm going to keep top view active. I'm going to grab three of these, and I'm going to do cross section. I'm going to grab grid snap. I'm going to click way to the right and pull way to the left. Now something unexpected happened there. Because these things are grouped, it caught them as well. I don't need that information. It's a little bit annoying, but it's not a big deal. I'm going to explode everybody. Ungroup everybody in case anybody's grouped. Right-click to remove this from the selection. Right-click to remove, or control-click, sorry. Control-click, control-click, control-click. Delete everybody else. That's my front view of the top line for these settings under bezels. Now, I want to do a couple of things. I'm going to do fillet curve. See, if I do that, I'm actually cutting off some of the width of that center stone. That's a very tough call. But I'm going to do it anyway. Because I'm actually going to go even one step further. I'm going to draw a circle around that. Visually, by eye. About like that. Mirror it over. Select both circles. Trim off the corner. And now I'm going to do a blend curve. Whenever I'm through with a trim curve like that, I just chuck it. I just delete it. And that will give me a fairly nice transition. And I'm going to bias it a little bit more for this side. Do that again so you can see it. Adjustable curve blend. Whichever handle I pull here is going to give the other side the advantage. Since I know that this is a little wider for the center than the sides, I'm going to grab this and just tug on it a little bit. And that just makes the curve follow this side a little more than that side. Mirror. Join. Now, where this gets interesting, first I've got to clean this up. I will join these together. I could also radius the edge here like I did on the early design. For right now, early maquette, but for now I'm going to keep it the same. Now I'm going to do curve from two views. Select that curve. Select that curve. And I get a three-dimensional representation of that curve. I'm going to check and see if it's closed. Yes, it is closed. Because if it's got an opening, if these were different lengths, you get up a little gap at the end, and I don't want that gap. I want it to be a closed curve. Front C-plane so that I can extrude straight. Both sides. Take my curve and trim. So for my new maquette, I've dropped things down a bit. Bring my drawing back. Now, I know that on this drawing, I want these to come down to this point. So I'm going to get a straight line. I'm going to project it so it goes all the way to the C-plane. And I'll grab end. Mirror it over. You can see that it's a little bit different because my orientations are slightly different. I've got to decide whether I like that or not. There. I like that better. Okay, so I've got that. Now my problem is going to be that I wanted a different angle here. So I'm going to draw that. Now I need to bring this over here. Just realize that this is still in a strange viewport name. I'm going to set it to perspective just to make it normal. Won't change anything, but it's just less confusing to see that. First thing I'm going to do is rotate this 90 degrees. But to rotate it 90 degrees, I need a reference point. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. Actually, what I want is already here. 3-point. By eye, I'm going to try and carefully click here, hold Shift key, here, pull it up. Doesn't matter how far it goes because I'm just doing it so I can put a line down the middle. Top C-plane, transform. Have to pause for 1 minute. Okay, back. So, you need to rotate this curve. So I'm going to go to transform, rotate. I'm going to just pick the bottom of this curve. Now I have it set to project to C-plane, but it wouldn't really matter because rotations are always relative to the current C-plane. Pardon me. Point to rotate from, point to rotate to. Right C-plane, project to C-plane. Don't need these any longer. Once again, there are some differences, primarily because I offset this curve on the original maquette and I didn't on this one. So there are slight variations. I'm just going to move that curve from its current end out to the quadrant here. It's also down lower because this drawing hadn't been modified for the lower angle. I'm going to look at that in real life compared to my drawing and decide if I want that a little straighter. I think I do, because that's the direction I was taking it in my drawing. A little less severe. So I have that. Turn my drawing off for a minute. So I have side to side, front and back. So I want to cut all of these off so that I can put a bottom on this block of information. I want to cut them off below the fingerboard because if I cut them off above, then they're not going to reach. Easiest way to cut them all at once is to get a cutting plane. Click and shift, pull left or right anywhere, it doesn't matter. And it really doesn't. I tell students this, they don't believe me. I can do the same thing out here. Cutting plane. Down here. Right to left. There's the cutting plane. Now it's way down here. But it still intersects the full range. So it doesn't really matter where you click. It's going to center up and line up right underneath what you need. Move this up. Give myself a little bit of spare change under the ring bore and trim off those curves. Now when I made those curves, I intentionally made everything too long. I drew that curve well below where I needed it because I knew I was going to crop it off over here. And if I didn't leave myself enough room, I wouldn't be able to crop it off. Same thing by drawing these all the way down. Always better to have too much material than not enough, just like working in metal. I like this, so I may want it back later, so I'm just going to hide it for a minute. I now want to make an outline for what this will look like down below. I have a few things I want to do with this, but the most simple, and it may not give me exactly what I want, but the simplest route is to draw an ellipse diameter. I don't want it to project to the C-plane. See got rubber bands down there? I don't want that anymore. I want to draw this exactly in place. End to end, end to end. This is the new overall area of this plate at the bottom at the finger rest. I'm going to project that to C-plane. I'm going to take this outline curve and I'm going to offset it to try and get it to fit inside. Okay, you can see I'm not getting what I want there. So now I'll do a non-uniform scale. Copy, yes. End to end. And then enter for Z because I don't want it to change, just one is fine. Throw that away. And you can see that gave me a better result. So that's what I'm going to start with. See if I like it. So I'm going to bring back that surface. And I can either project that onto surface or make that a C-plane and project it onto the C-plane. I'm going to project curves onto this surface. Re-hide that.